let those few seconds distract you from what's right in front of you. Phones down, eyes up, Ohio.
If you need new roofing, siding or gutters, skylights or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. See Lance Roofing and Siding at their new location at 6903 Dayton Springfield Road in Enon. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722. Online at lanceroofing.com.
Oh, my house needs some help. It needs a new roof, new windows, and siding if I can afford it. I just don't know who to call. Your house is updated and looks so nice. Who does your work?
Buckeye Home Services does all my work. Their prices are affordable, and they do a great job. Call 586-6600 for a free estimate. Buckeye does roofing, siding, gutters, leaf guards, windows, doors, patio covers, even kitchens and baths.
Sounds like they're the ones to call. What's that number again?
Buckeye Home Services, 586-6600.
Spring is the perfect time to beautify your home or business with locally grown plants from A. Brown & Sons Nursery. Check out Brown's Nursery for everyday low prices on thousands of healthy and colorful high-quality shade trees, evergreens, flowering trees, and bushes, perennials, and ornamental grasses. Brown's grows landscape-size hydrangeas, lilacs, butterfly bush, red buds, flowering crabs, magnolias, wisteria, wigula, spirea, forsythia, dogwood, fruit trees, and then there's western red cedar, arborvitae, boxwood, taxus, juniper, pines, and spruce. They have elms and tulip trees, sweet gums and oaks, black gum and hornbeams, willows and honey locusts, 30-plus varieties of maple, and so much more. Come see them at Brown's Nursery this weekend, Friday and Saturday 8 to 5, Sunday noon to 5. Landscape installation and landscape design are available too, just 4 miles off of I-70, exit 24 on Route 49. They're easy to find and so worth the trip. Make your corner of the world a whole lot greener with Brown's Nursery.
Some people reach a line and stop. Some hit a wall and turn around. Then there are the ones who cross the line, climb the wall, face obstacles, and turn them to their advantage. That's where we come in. We're the next rodeo. We design bold marketing that drives real growth. A creative partner for businesses ready to push forward beyond what's expected. The Next Rodeo. Learn more at thenextrodeo.com.
Save big money in your next outdoor project when you shop at Menards. Pittsburgh's Ultra Advanced Semi-Transparent Exterior Stain and Sealant in One can be applied to damp wood, allowing you to clean the surface and stain in one day. Save big on Ultra Advanced Wood Stain today. View our entire selection of stain and accessories on Menards.com. Plus, check out our weekly flyer to find all the great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repair? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, commercial properties. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Visit us today at TurboTrackRealty.com or give us a call and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Swing by Frickers this week and treat yourself to one of our unbeatable lunch combos. Choose from your favorites, like the Big Frickin' BLT, cheeseburger, frickin' chicken wrap, and more. Each with a side and drink for just $10.99. Plus, use the Frickers app and score double points on lunch for a limited time. Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Whether you dine in or grab it to go, lunch just got a whole lot tastier and more rewarding. At your home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Kubota keeps the job site running smoothly with the #1 selling compact excavator lineup in the world. Reliable, capable, and backed by strong dealer support. Stop by today to power up your crew. Right now, bring home select Kubota excavators with 0% financing available or save up to $7,000. Now through June 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com/disclaimer for full disclaimer.
Stop by Columbus Equipment Company in Columbus, Dayton, or Toledo to see our full line of Kubota construction equipment. Or check us out online at columbusequipment.com.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
The Justin Kenner Show, weekdays at 3 p.m. right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Now, back to the Justin Kenner Show, right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
Everybody, we are off and rolling here on a Thursday. The NFL draft tonight, first round at least, officially kicks off. And, of course, first round tonight, second, third round, and all the rest of the rounds coming up this weekend. We're going to have our NFL draft special coming up later on. Myself, Kev Nash, Keith Byers. We're going to be live, not on the radio, but on our ESPN Dayton social media channels for our NFL draft watch-along. That's coming up later on tonight at 8 o'clock, by the way. Excuse me. Every time, never fails. Every time I crack the mic, all of a sudden I have to clear my throat. Never fails. But, okay, a lot to get into today. I do want to open up. We got a lot of draft talk. We'll get into some Reds coming up here around the corner, but I want to open up with a little Ohio State / draft talk. You know what's interesting? For the longest time, I've always got really frustrated with all the annoying talk about, well, which conference is better? The SEC or the Big Ten, which conference is better? And, it was funny because the hypocrisy that always existed when it came to the Big Ten versus the SEC. And I'm talking about the hypocrisy that exists within, of course, you guys, the Buckeye fans, Big Ten fans. All of it was, if I would say, well, there were so many more. And if, look at all the players that the SEC puts into the NFL, you guys would just, you would ignore that. You would say that the SEC is overrated. It's not this. I do find it fascinating. Have you seen the dip in SEC players that are projected to go at the top of this draft? And even well into the first round. Like if you look at the top 10, I'm going to use the first round mock draft just as an example. So this is Mel Kiper's final mock draft, round 1 mock draft. Okay, the 2026. NFL mock draft, the final mock draft by Mel Kiper, since the draft is coming up here later on tonight. My biggest argument was always that, to me, the SEC, yes, is the best conference in college football, especially when we're talking about it from that perspective. They were winning all the national championships. They were putting pretty much the biggest, highest percentage of their players into the NFL. So if you have the teams that are doing, their most top 25 teams, they're doing the majority of the winning of the national championships. They're putting the most players in the NFL. I know, Buckeye fans, you all have egos. We all do. But, it was kind of silly. We all sounded pretty stupid if we tried to say anything other than, the SEC is the best conference in college football. They were. And it's because they were constantly, they were putting more players in the NFL than any other conference. But it's fascinating because as you've seen that wave kind of shift a little bit, you look at the fact that the Big Ten has won 3 straight national championships, and it hasn't just been Ohio State winning on 3 or Michigan winning on 3. Michigan won it 3 years ago, Ohio State 2 years ago, and Indiana coming off of the perfect season, winning a national championship, of course, and the Big Ten championship, and perfect season. They're going to have a quarterback who won the Heisman go number 1 overall tonight in Fernando Mendoza. But this is fascinating to me. So if you just look at the mock draft put out by Mel Kiper, Fernando Mendoza, Indiana, going number 1. All right, David Bailey, he has going number 2, the edge rusher out of Texas Tech. How about Jeremiah Love, arguably what many people are saying is top 3 player in college football, regardless of position, going number 3 overall to, Notre Dame, going to Arizona. Sonny Styles going to Tennessee from Ohio State. How about Arvell Reese from Ohio State going to the Giants? Finally, an SEC player popping up in Monroe Freeling, the offensive tackle, going to Cleveland. Carnell Tate, wide receiver out of Ohio State, going number 7 overall to the Washington Commanders. How about the Saints getting involved at number 8, taking Arizona's wide receiver from Arizona State and Jordan Tyson. The Chiefs getting their hands on Caleb Downs, of course, the safety from Ohio State. The Giants at 10. How about they get the guard and Ione again from Penn State? At the Dolphins, going the offensive tackle route, and Francis Magua again from Miami. Oh, another SEC player coming in at number 12, and Mansoon Delane, again, the cornerback from LSU, going to number 12, going 12th overall to Dallas. At number 13, offensive tackle from Utah. Number 14, Reuben Bain from Miami. Number 15, Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end from Oregon. New York at number 16, USC. Finally, an SEC player. 3 players in the top 17. 3 of the top 17 players. Again, this is a mock draft, and it doesn't mean that this is exactly what's going to happen. But, like, the fact that we're combing through this and we're barely finding SEC players. I mean, at 18, we're back to a Big Ten player. At 19, a Big Ten player. Oh, that's Keldrick Falk, the edge rusher from Auburn, going number 20 to Dallas. Oh, back to Arizona State, back to Miami, back to Clemson, Washington out of the Big Ten. Oklahoma, I guess that counts as an SEC get, but Oklahoma getting in on the action. UCF, Indiana at number 27, Clemson at 28. There's Tennessee at number 29. So far we've gotten to 4. Ty Simpson, 5, going number 30 to Arizona, and then offensive tackle Utah, out of Utah, going to New England at 31, and then Clemson. 5 of the first 32 picks out of the SEC. Double-digit Big Ten teams and double-digit ACC teams. I'm not saying that the ACC is better than, of course, ACC. I'm sorry, double-digit Big Ten teams, and then, of course, you look at the fact when you combine the Big 12 and the ACC, more than doubling what what the SEC has gotten. That's a major dip off. When you look at the fact that obviously the SEC is still a big-time revenue generator, obviously very good teams, but they're not putting the players in the league that they once were. They don't have the national powerhouses that they once had. That's why they're freaking out. And you have teams that, putting over Boku bucks to go get a Lane Kiffin to come, resurrect LSU and all this other stuff. Like, Alabama is not what they once were. Georgia, I mean, they're making more headlines with what their players are doing off the field than on the field anymore. All right. Alabama in the post Nick Saban era, not relevant. Like, you look across the board, the SEC is not what it once was. And you look at the Big Ten, 3 straight national championships, and not just the Big Ten. I mean, you look at the amount of players. Let me go back and comb through just exactly. I mean, just in the first round mock draft alone, and we'll do this again tomorrow when we have the actual first round results. But I'm counting, okay, Big Ten, that's 1, 2, 3, all right, 4, continue, 5, 6. 6 of the top 10 picks, according to this Mel Kiper's final mock draft, out of the Big Ten. All right. And then you keep going down this list, 6 of the top 10. And then you go 7 of the top 15, 8 of the top 16. Again, now it's 9 of the top 18. I mean, more than half. Now that's 10 of the first 19. And then there you go. Yeah. So 50% of the first 20 picks, all out of the Big Ten, according to ESPN's Mel Kiper. Again, it's a mock draft. We'll have more real, tangible evidence coming up later on tonight. But I just found that fascinating at the end of the day, that, we talk so much about how the SEC has dominated for so many years, winning all the championships, putting all the players in the league. And they're still putting a lot of players in the league, don't get me wrong, but it's not like what it once was. I mean, it used to be all SEC players dominating the first round of the draft, sprinkling in your Buckeyes and Michigan players. It's Big Ten, players from Utah, Miami, the ACC, the Big 12. I mean, it's interesting looking the types of players that are involved in this year's draft, coming off of the Big Ten winning their 3rd straight national championship with a 3rd different team. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show. Coming up later on tonight, of course, round 1 of the NFL draft. Myself, Keith Byers, Kev Nash will be live going at 8 o'clock. And we'll be, of course, reacting live to every pick. We thought we were going to have the Browns and the Bengals in the top 10 of the draft. No Bengals, but there's a good chance Cleveland could trade out of the top 10 as well. We're going to be reacting live to the first 10 picks of the draft. And depending on where we are time-wise that late in the night, we might hang out a little longer. But with all the Buckeyes projected to go in the top 10, with Ohio State, or with the Cleveland and Cincinnati, who we thought were in the top 10, Cincinnati using their top 10 pick to, of course, go get Dexter Lawrence. We'll spend plenty of time on that. Cleveland, they have a lot of decisions. They have tough decisions to make as far as what they're going to potentially do with that number 6 pick. Speaking of Mel Kiper, ESPN's Mel Kiper has 4 Ohio State players going in the top 10 in his final mock draft. If all 4 go in the top 10, it would match Michigan State in 1967 as the only other instance, becoming just the second time in common draft era where 4 players are taken in the top 10 from one school. So we'll talk about that more in depth coming up here around the corner. More of the Justin Kinner Show when we come back.
Hi, everyone. Super Bowl champ Vernon Davis here from Legal Help Center. If you've been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, listen up, because we have legal professionals standing by right now to answer your questions for free. You can find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth.
Thanks, Vernon. You heard it, folks. If you've been injured, call and find out how much you qualify for. Call 800-750-2700.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center may not be available in all states, not available in California.
A small business affirmation from Progressive. Bakery owners, you will be loved today. Every pastry will be flaky. Your cake will make a child's day. Your delivery van won't get sideswiped by a distracted garbage truck driver. But if so, breathe easy, knowing you'll get back to business quickly with Progressive protecting your commercial auto. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Big color, bigger savings. Sherwin-Williams Super Sale is here. Get 40% off paints and stains April 24th through the 27th with prices starting at $30.89. Whether you're refreshing your interior or exterior, we've got the colors to bring your vision to life. And with delivery, getting everything to your door is easier than ever. Shop online to have it delivered or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Delivery available on qualifying orders.
I love a day on the water with friends, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis sometimes holds me back. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy.
Teaching music is my passion, but my active psoriatic arthritis can limit me at times. Now I'm treating my joint symptoms with Skyrizi.
With Skyrizi, most people with plaque psoriasis saw 90% clearer skin at 4 months.
Or if you are an adult with active psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi helps you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin.
There's nothing like better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn more.
Polking Bowling Centers are your connection for family fun or a great night out with friends. Looking for a clean and safe venue for your new grad celebration? Check out our VIP suite at Polking Lane South. Set the mood for your event with a state-of-the-art VIP experience in our private 8 lanes VIP suite. Booking now for spring and summer events. Let the good times roll at Polking Lane South in Centerville on Kings Ridge Drive, Woodman Lanes in Kettering on Woodman Drive, and Polking Lanes in Dayton on Wilmington Avenue.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. 2689 Commons, Dayton.
Thank you for calling Michigan Tech Support. For stolen signs, press 1. For mysteriously dropped headset communications, press 2. For a cheating scandal that Michigan hasn't been caught for yet, press 3. You know what? Please hold.
The Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio.
NFL Draft Round 1 coming up later on tonight. 8 o'clock, myself, Keith Byers, and Kev Nash will be live on our ESPN Dayton Facebook and YouTube channel. And for our Round 1 NFL Draft Watch-Along presented by Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. So we'll be live for the first 10 picks at the very least. We're going to go live through the first 10 picks at the very least. 4 Buckeyes projected to go in the top 10, as well as the Browns pick at number 6. We thought the Bengals would have the number 10 pick, but, they finally did something, to show that they want to try and win. They used that top 10 pick to go get one of, if not the best interior defensive lineman in Dexter Lawrence, and we'll have more on that coming up later on tonight. So hang out with us tonight at 8 o'clock, coming up right after Cards Subject to Change. So after my show here, you'll have Cards Subject to Change coming up at 6 o'clock from 6 to 8 with Benjamin Chimera, Big Kevin Company, the only show around dedicated to, all things professional wrestling, WWE, AEW, all that fun stuff. So they'll be reacting, Big Kev and Benjamin Chimera reacting to nights 1 and 2 of WrestleMania this past weekend. So we'll be on right after them, going live for the first 10 picks, maybe more. We'll kind of gauge it time-wise for tonight's Round 1 of the NFL Draft. Okay, so we just talked about Mel Kiper, putting out his final mock draft, and it's interesting because as I'm combing through, I just started realizing that there wasn't a lot of SEC players in this mock draft, and there might not be. There might be a handful of players out of the SEC that go in the first half, and you're like, or in the first round, and you're like, well, a handful of players, that sounds like a lot. We're talking 5 of the first 32 picks, 5 of the first round 32 picks could potentially be out of the SEC. Maybe there'll be more, but I went and I started combing through a lot of mock drafts from some of the big, NFL, professionals, the all-knowers out there, right? Just taking a look at those, and all roughly sit in that 5 to 6, SEC player range. And a lot of times that 6th SEC player has been, the quarterback out of Alabama, who we'll talk more about when it comes to the Cleveland Browns coming up here in just a moment. But that's going to be something to keep an eye on as far as the quarterback out of Alabama and where he could potentially end up one way or another. So we'll see what ends up happening one way or another. Again, I'm Justin Kenner. We welcome you back to the Justin Kenner Show here on a Thursday. NFL first round action coming up later on tonight. But I just couldn't get over, we're talking, of course, about Ohio State having 4 players who are it's very well likely that 4 players from Ohio State will go in the top 10. That's just from one team in the Big Ten. The whole entire SEC might not even have 5 players taken in the first round. That's something to keep an eye on coming up later on into tonight. Okay, I thought this was interesting. So we're talking about those Buckeyes potentially going in the first round. ESPN's Mel Kiper put this out earlier. This is on SportsCenter. The chance to be selected in the top 10 for the 4 Ohio State Buckeyes that we project to hear their names tonight in the top 10. You have Arvell Reese, Caleb Downs, Sonny Styles, Carnell Tate. According to ESPN Draft Day predictions, Arvell Reese has a 100% chance of being selected in the top 10. These are not, the probability of going in the first round. This is the probability of being selected in the top 10. All right. And we're going to have those top 10 picks for you coming up later on tonight at 8 o'clock on our ESPN Dayton YouTube channels and Facebook page, of course, for our NFL Round 1 watch along. So these are the names we're probably going to hear: Arvell Reese, Caleb Downs, Sonny Styles, Carnell Tate. Arvell Reese, according to ESPN's Draft Day predictor, has a 100% chance of going in the top 10. Caleb Downs has a 99% chance of going in the top 10. Sonny Styles, 91%. And then there you have Carnell Tate, the lowest percentage of all those 4 names right there, has the lowest probability of going in the top 10, which is still a high probability at 84%. So there you have it, Buckeye fans. We're going to hear more than just those 4 Buckeye names coming up later on tonight, but we are going to hear those 4 Buckeye names most likely in the top 10. I don't think it's a surprise that the name that is most likely to drop out of the top 10 is Carnell Tate. He plays a position at wide receiver that, you start thinking about Carnell Tate, you think about all the Buckeye wide receivers in the NFL, they're all successful. They're all really, really good. Whether it's Garrett Wilson, right? Whether it's Chris Olave, whether it's Marvin Harrison Jr., whether it's Jackson Smith-Njigba, who just got paid and, of course, won a Super Bowl. My goodness, that you look across the NFL, so many talented Ohio State wide receivers. That's why Ohio State is wide receiver U. There's no debate about it. So when you have a wide receiver coming out of Ohio State, they're always going to have the NFL's respect. But Carnell Tate is being viewed as the number one wide receiver in this year's NFL draft. But you have to ask yourself, he is, yes, Ibuka, Ron, thank you. Yes, Emeka Ibuka. I mean, the list goes on and on of Buckeye wide receivers in the NFL. But as I've had this take, I've shared this take consistently. If the Browns take Carnell Tate at 6, I will be more than fine with that. My only doubt or concern will be, okay, Carnell Tate, he comes in. He's a very, very good wide receiver, but is he a number one wide receiver? Well, Kinner, he would be Cleveland's number one wide receiver right away. Well, just because he would be the Browns' best receiver right away doesn't necessarily mean he's a legitimate number one wide receiver. Because as of right now, Cleveland's best wide receiver, okay, when you look at Cleveland and how that roster breaks down, and you just kind of look at it, everyone's like, oh, Cleveland doesn't have, they don't have a very good wide receiving room. When you look up and down everything, their best wide receiver right now is Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy is not a number one wide receiver. So Carnell Tate could be drafted and be Cleveland's best wide receiver. Does that make him a number one wide receiver? I don't know. And that's the question mark I have about taking Carnell Tate at number 6. If you take any wide receiver at number 6, they better come in and be Jamar Chase. They better come in and be a legitimate difference maker right off the bat. Not a guy that can come in and make some nice plays and is going to catch a few touchdowns for you and extend some drives. You can get that type of impact in the next round or later in the first round if you need to. You need to get a difference maker at number 6, and it doesn't necessarily have to be at wide receiver. That's my only concern, my only pushback for the Carnell Tate pick at 6, if that ends up being the case. I'm not anti-Carnell Tate. I'm just telling you I have my reservations when it comes to taking any wide receiver in this year's draft. I'm not advocating that there's another wide receiver I want over Carnell Tate at 6. I'm just saying I don't know if I would take any wide receiver at 6 because there's a lot of good receivers in this draft. I just don't think that Jamar Chase exists in this draft as far as I'm concerned. So there's that. Something I shared with you guys. We were off yesterday because the Reds played during the show. But I found this fascinating. Here is a breakdown. Here is the Pro Bowl percentage by draft round since 2005. Okay. And I was radio only the other day. We weren't live on Facebook. So I found this interesting that they broke it down by position by round. So here is the Pro Bowl position. Here's the Pro Bowl percentage by draft round since 2005. We're talking 20 years, 20 drafts of, information here, of data to be able to look through. Okay. And let's look at, for instance, if you look at quarterbacks, right? If you look at quarterbacks over the last 20 drafts, all right, over the last 20 drafts, 71% of quarterbacks taken in the first round, have been named Pro Bowlers. 10% of quarterbacks taken in the second round have been named Pro Bowlers. Only 5% of quarterbacks taken in the third and fourth round have been named Pro Bowlers. 2% in that fifth round. Of course, that number probably spiked thanks to our Pro Bowl quarterback, old Shedeur Sanders, holding it down over there in Cleveland. But then that spikes up again in round 6 at 5% and 2% in round 7. So I found some of this data fascinating because when you look at wide receiver is the only position of all the position groups in the NFL. It's the only position group of which you find a higher percentage of Pro Bowlers in a later round than the first round. There are more busts in the first round. You know what I mean? Like 26% of wide receivers taken in the first round of the draft end up being Pro Bowlers. It's the only position where the first round picks have a total Pro Bowl selection percentage lower than a later round. 32% of wide receivers taken in the second round have been named Pro Bowlers. There are more Pro Bowl quarterbacks in the last 20 years that have come out of the second round than the first round. That's what caught my attention more than anything else when discussing all of this, which is why when I talked about Carnell Tate, I love Carnell Tate. If the Browns select him tonight, I love it. I hope he pans out. I want to get a Carnell Tate Browns jersey. OH, baby. I'm all for it. But I'm not going to be upset if they take an offensive tackle or if they opt not to take wide receiver at 6, because I don't think that an NFL number 1 quality receiver pops off the page as of right now. Not saying none of these guys can develop into it. I'm just saying as of right now, I don't look at any receiver in this draft and say they're going to come in right now and be Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase came into the NFL and was Jamar Chase right off the bat. It's not a coincidence. I'm not saying it was all him, but it's not a coincidence that Cincinnati made it to a Super Bowl his first year, year 2 of Joe Burrow, when you have a difference maker like that in that pass game. I mean, if Carnell Tate can come in and be Jamar Chase, by all means, I welcome it. I just don't think that's going to be the case. Damon Hahn is watching live on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. He says the biggest can't miss out of all those Buckeye receivers could be viewed as the least successful to the to this point. Yes. So Damon's referring back to when we were talking about the Ohio State players who have the highest percentage chance of going in the top 10. Carnell Tate comes in and 84. He has an 84% chance according to ESPN drafts, draft day predictor. And it doesn't surprise me that a wide receiver has the lowest percentage of all the other positions, just because wide receiver is so tough to figure out. Think about all the can't miss wide receivers that have come out of Ohio State in recent history. The one that we consider the most can't miss would have been Marvin Harrison Jr. The way we talk about, the way we talk about Jeremiah Smith right now is exactly how we talked about Marvin Harrison Jr. when he was in Columbus. Now he's a solid number one receiver. Solid. He's very, very good, but he's not Jamar Chase. But he was supposed to be Jamar Chase. When the Cardinals got him, he was supposed to be a difference maker, and he's just a very good pass catcher, solid wide receiver. I just don't think that he is who we built him up to be. And it's interesting because Jackson Smith-Njigba we thought would be a solid NFL wide receiver. He looks like a top 5 NFL wide receiver right now. Chris Olave is the real deal. Mecca Ibuka and Baker Mayfield had that chemistry right off the bat. He's phenomenal as well. So, like I said, it's going to be interesting when you take a look at all the Buckeyes that are projected to go in the first round tonight. Not just the first round, but the top 10. Arvell Reese, Caleb Dowd, Sonny Styles. The only offensive player in that conversation is Carnell Tate, and he has the lowest percentage of all of them when it's all said and done. 937-518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. I just unblocked everything. Unblocked the phone line so you can call in now. The lines are officially open. Carnell Tate, does he go in the top 10 tonight? Do you anticipate Carnell Tate joining the likes of an Arvell Reese, a Sonny Styles, a Caleb Downs? Do you agree that those are the 4 Buckeyes that are going to go in the top 10 tonight? Do you see less than 4 going in the top 10 tonight? We'll have the top 10 picks for you. Kev Nash, Keith Byers, and myself will be with you live throughout the first 10 picks, maybe more, depending on how long those first top 10 picks make. But we'll be live on Facebook and YouTube tonight, ESPN Dayton's YouTube and Facebook page. Hopefully getting to hear and see all 4 of those Buckeyes, make their way up on stage in Pittsburgh. In the first round of the draft coming up later on tonight. 937-518-1410, the Justin Kinner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. All right, we'll step away for a few moments. Something to think about. Obviously the Bengals do not have a pick tonight in the first round. Cleveland has the number 6 pick, but there is talks of them potentially moving back in the draft. They have 2 first rounders. But make no mistake about it, Cincinnati, Cleveland, it's not the NFL draft is not just the first round. It's the entirety of the weekend. The entirety of the weekend is so important to both of these organizations. Browns, Bengals, which of these 2 teams has more to gain this weekend? Which of these 2 teams is this weekend's draft the most crucial for? We'll discuss when we come back. Which of these 2 teams has to hit in this year's draft? No misses. I mean, you're not going to hit on every single one, but you know what I mean? Like, which one of these 2 teams, Browns or Bengals, has to have a successful draft this weekend more than the other? 937-518-1410. You can call, text. We'll pick up with this conversation when we come back. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places. What you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week, there's something new. If you need office furniture, Lyric's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. From budget to the best. From desks to filing cabinets. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Lyric's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to want to go anywhere else. Lyric's Warehouse Outlet at 23 Mac Oil Avenue in Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Lyric's, continuing the tradition.
This is Lieutenant Governor Jim Tressel. If you're driving and take a quick glance at your phone, more can happen than you might think. Because taking your eyes off the road for even just a moment is like driving the entire length of a football field blind. Don't let those few seconds distract you from what's right in front of you. Phones down, eyes up, Ohio.
Cordell Transportation is looking for more weekend warriors. If you have a Class A CDL and would like to make some extra money casually driving weekend daytime routes, then Cordell Transportation is looking for you. Home daily, all loads round trip, no touch freight, and competitive pay. Full-time routes could become available if you're interested. Drive weekends at Cordell Transportation. Apply at CordellTransportation.com or call Ron at 937-277-7271. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
For all of your tree needs, you've got to call Tackett Tree Service. Headquartered in Dayton and family-owned since 1949, Tackett Tree Service delivers professional quality tree services to residential and commercial customers, including tree removal, pruning, trimming, stump grinding services. Plus, they have firewood and mulch for sale, and even specialize in tree health care, too. Call Tackett 7 days a week, 7 to 7, and emergency service 24/7. Call 937-630-2743 or see Tackett'sTreeService.com.
Big color, bigger savings. Sherwin-Williams Super Sale is here. Get 40% off paints and stains April 24th through the 27th with prices starting at $30.89. Whether you're refreshing your interior or exterior, we've got the colors to bring your vision to life. And with delivery, getting everything to your door is easier than ever. Shop online to have it delivered or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Delivery available on qualifying orders.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repair? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, commercial properties. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Visit us today at TurboTrackRealty.com or give us a call and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Hey, Andy, you need to check out Gem City Water.
What? Another company selling bottled water?
Just the opposite. Gem City Water is a local company that offers affordable reverse osmosis systems and installs them for free. You can have pure, great-tasting water right from your own tap in your home or office. My water is tastier, healthier, and eco-friendly.
Okay, I probably should. I know I need to drink more water, and I'm so tired of buying bottled water. But how do I get info on Gem City Water?
Just go to gemcitywater.com. You'll be glad you did.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, 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 money.
Giving away $1,000 a day every weekday from now to the end of April. It's our ESPN Dayton Spring Payout. Get out your phones and text the word COOK, C-O-O-K. Text COOK, 937-518-1410. You have 18 minutes to get this word texted in for your chance to win $1,000. 937-518-1410. Text COOK, C-O-O-K. COOK. We'll be right back. More of the Justin Kinner Show when we come back. First round of the NFL draft is tonight. The Browns have the number 6 and number 24 pick. The Bengals' first-round pick they used to acquire Dexter Lawrence, so they will not be selecting anyone tonight in the draft, of course. But when you look at the draft, it's not just the first night, it's the draft collectively. Which team desperately needs to have a successful draft this weekend? Which team needs this draft more? We'll discuss when we come back. Browns or Bengals? More of the Justin Kinner Show next.
Take the dollar, and the damn soul stop it.
The ONN Daily Podcast. Get a recap of all the day's news from across the state. The ONN Daily Podcast. Listen at onnradio.com or wherever you download your favorite podcasts from the Ohio News Network.
Are you involved with a school or charitable fundraiser that holds an auction, bid and buy booth, or a raffle to raise money? Many of the most popular items at auctions or booths are autographed sports memorabilia items. How can you get great items in your event? Call Adam Walter at Sports Investments. Sports Investments has a consignment program for fundraisers that has provided outstanding items. You select items that are proven sellers, including autographed pieces from Tiger Woods, LeBron James, Joey Votto, the Big Red Machine, the Bengals, the Browns, UC, XU, UK, NKU, Dayton, Louisville, Notre Dame, and Ohio State. Sports Investments consigns the items to your group at a highly discounted price, and when they sell, you keep the profit. You don't pay anything in advance, and if something doesn't sell, you simply return it. You'll enjoy the experience of dealing with the Walter family. Call them at 513-891-5000. Email Adam at sportsinvestments.com or visit them on Montgomery Road, right off I-275, just 40 minutes from WING.
Look, I love the Reds as much as you do. But why does this team's batting average look like the 1990s gas prices? If you don't remember, they were low.
Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show, right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
Yeah, the offensive numbers for the Reds aren't great, but the Reds are in first place as we sit here on April 23rd. How about that? 16-9. The Reds are 16-9, sitting atop the NL Central. And what does that mean? What does that get you? Well, not a damn thing. Nothing. But we've all been Reds fans long enough to know that usually by this point of the month, we're thinking, thank goodness for the draft. Usually at this time of the year, or at this time of the month, we're thinking, oh man, we got to wait till September for football. The Reds are in first place in the NL Central. They are off today, but of course they did lose the finale yesterday. In that series against the Rays, but they did win the series overall. Keep in mind, ever since the Reds dropped 2 of 3 against the Angels, they took 2 of 3 from the Giants, swept the Twins, and took 2 of 3 from the Rays. They have an off night tonight, and then they turn their attention towards the Tigers, who they welcome into Great American Ballpark. 4 of 3 game series over the weekend, starting tomorrow night. We'll have that game we'll have that game for you right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. A 6:40 first pitch tomorrow night, with 6:10 pregame coverage coming your way. The pitchers on the mound this weekend for the Reds in the Tigers series. They'll have Andrew Abbott on the mound tomorrow night, a 7:15 first pitch on Saturday evening with Brady Singer on the mound, and then Rhett Lauder will have the finale on Sunday as the Reds look to win their 4th straight series. They'll have 3 with Detroit, and then they'll have 3 with the Rockies at Great American Ballpark. That'll take you through the 30th, and then the Reds will kick off May with 7 straight road games, 3 at Pittsburgh and 3 at Chicago. 7 games against 2 teams who, for the time being, are currently looking up at the Reds in the NL Central standings. But how about the NL Central just continuing to be the story of baseball to start? The Reds are 16-9, sitting atop the division. They have a half-game lead over the Cubs, who they'll play in a couple series, of course. The Cubs are 15-9. The Cardinals are 14-10, as are the Pittsburgh Pirates. And then there's Milwaukee, who's 13-10. 13-10, dead last. 2 games back of the Reds in the Central. How about that? But yeah, the Brewers 13-10. Every team in the NL Central above 500. Every team in the NL Central at least 3 games above 500. They're the only division in baseball to be able to say that. Nonetheless, the crazy part is the Reds at 16-9 would be second in the West in the National League, behind the Padres and Dodgers, of course. They'd be second behind the Braves in the East. And then you look over at the American League, and the Reds would be in first place in every division in the American League. You know, the Yankees are 15-9 in the East. 15-9 in the East. Cleveland, out of the Central in the American League, they're 14-12. And then there's 13-12. The Athletics, I mean, how bad is the NL West? Or the AL West? The Athletics, 13-12. A half-game lead over the Rangers at 12-12, sitting there at the top. I mean, we're talking about an NL Central that every team is at least 3 games above 500 or more. I'm looking at the West in the American League. The Athletics, 1 game above 500, a half game over the 500 Rangers at 12-12. I mean, we could be heading into the weekend or coming out of the weekend with every team in the Central and the National League above 500. We could be talking about every team in the American League West under 500. That's a bad division. Usually we're talking about the Central in the American League as being one of the worst divisions. When you have Kansas City, the White Sox have been bad, Twins so up and down, Tigers, but Guardians 14-12. And then there's the Tigers at 13-12, and that's who the Reds will kick off a series with starting tomorrow. Nonetheless, I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show. Just a reminder, coming up later on tonight, we will have, of course, our NFL Draft first round watch along. Myself, Kev Nash, Keith Byers will be live on the ESPN Dayton Facebook page and YouTube channel, and we'll just be kicking back. We'll be watching the draft and reacting to the draft in real time. It's our NFL Draft Round 1 watch along. We'll be with you for at least the first 10 picks. 4 Ohio State Buckeyes projected to go in the top 10. Browns have the number 6 pick, at least as we sit here on this Thursday afternoon. The Bengals had the number 10 pick, but used it to get Dexter Lawrence. As you guys know, and I've had a lot of Bengals fans reach out to say they feel like I'm doing this on purpose to put the curse of the Kinner on the Bengals, because every team that I'm supportive of, usually outside of Ohio State, it doesn't go well. Right. So everyone says it's the curse of the Kinner. Any team or player I start to really pull for, bad things happen. That's not really the case. I'm just a Browns fan, so it just seems that every team I pull for, bad things happen. But yeah, I've had no bad things to say about Cincinnati. I view them totally different now. My biggest knock on Cincinnati is that they have not acted with the correct amount of urgency to try to win throughout the Joe Burrow era. You know, you get to the Super Bowl in year 2 of Joe Burrow, in the Joe Burrow era, and you don't add players. You just continue to take players away. You continue to bid farewell to really good pieces, especially on the defense. You know, when you continue to move on from really good defensive pieces and sat back and scratched your head and wondered, why the hell are we so bad defensively? It's because anyone that was worth a damn, you moved on from. And anyone that you thought you were smarter than everyone else in the draft and selected against all the red flags, you ignored the red flags. It's amazing to me how surprised Bengals fans and the organization was that, well, how are we so bad? We were confident that the guy we selected, we were confident in Shamar Stewart. We were confident in these guys that they were going to be legit, whether a shutdown corner or a dominant pass rusher, even though some of the tape showed that wasn't necessarily the case. But no one knows more than Duke Tobin and the 3 people he has in that scouting department. I mean, let me tell you, 3 is, a little less than what they have, but not many. Either way. But no, the Bengals finally said, you know what? We have to show urgency, and there's an opportunity here to go get a Dexter Lawrence. And they didn't just kick the tires on it. They actually went all in, gave up their number 10 pick, and got Dexter Lawrence, arguably the best interior defensive lineman in the National Football League. And I think it really does put Cincinnati in the Super Bowl conversation. They're not the favorites to win it, but then again, I look at the AFC, and I comb through the AFC, and I'm like, who is that team that you thoroughly fear in the AFC right now? I fear Josh Allen, but I don't fear the Bills. I fear Patrick Mahomes, but I'm starting to no longer fear Kansas City. There's only one team to me, two now. There's two teams in the AFC, maybe three, that I'm like, okay, I think they're a concern. And I'm not even including, I think there's all this distraction with Mike Vrabel, by the way. I'm taking New England out of this. I don't really, we'll talk more about that more later on. I think Denver is the scariest team in the AFC right now as far as what they have on both sides of the ball. They're an okay passing team. They are a hell of a running team and a beyond dangerous defensive team. They are the most well-rounded team in the AFC. There's no other team in the AFC. They are very similar. I think they're the AFC's version of Philadelphia. Philadelphia, not the best passing team by any means, but damn, can they run the football? And man, do they have a defense. And that's Denver. I think Denver and Philadelphia remind me a lot of one another. But, there's a lot more talented teams in the NFC than I think that there are in the AFC. So Denver, I think, is the most complete team in the AFC. So I fear them. Baltimore, I think that defense is going to bounce back this year. And, of course, you have Lamar Jackson. I think you still have to respect Baltimore. But I do think that, people are starting to kind of catch on to them a bit like, oh, there's a lot of flash in the regular season, but no one fears them come playoff time. The third team that I fear more than anyone in the AFC at this point, to me, I don't know how you can't say Cincinnati. We have said for years that the second this team just gets an average defense with Joe, Jamar, and T, they're going to be the most dangerous team in the AFC. And we were saying that back when you had Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs at full force. That's back when you had Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and the Bills at full force. Right now, I'm out on the Chargers. I've tried to be the Justin Herbert defender. I can't do it anymore. I thought Justin Herbert and Harbaugh would be a match made in heaven. It's just not. Maybe they needed Connor Stallions to get over there and kind of help push them over the edge, just like at Harbaugh's last stop. I don't know. But I'm out on the Chargers. The Raiders have the number 1 overall pick. Kansas City, I don't know what the status of Patrick Mahomes is, but even when he was healthy last year, this team had a lot of problems. So the West to me is Denver. I look at the AFC South. I love CJ Stroud. Well, I like CJ Stroud. I don't love him anymore. I don't know what his problem is. He hasn't been, the last time he was elite was his rookie year when, of course, it was the most impressive. Statistically, before Jane Daniels, CJ Stroud had the most impressive rookie season in the history of the National Football League. From his completion percentage to total yards, touchdowns, won the division, made the playoffs, beat the Cleveland Browns, won a playoff game. In fact, the crazy thing is the fact that we have so many question marks about CJ Stroud. All he does is win. They win every year since they drafted him. They made the playoffs every year since they drafted him. They've won a playoff game every year since they've drafted him. And they still don't know if they want to pay him. And I don't blame them. The guy there's something off. He has weapons. He has a run game. That offensive line is banged up, and they need to address that, of course. And that defense is one of the best in the NFL. Houston, I want to put above Denver if CJ Stroud could be the real deal. But because he's not the real deal or hasn't been consistent enough for me to put him there, I can't put him up there with Denver. But CJ Stroud, if he returns to the guy that he was his rookie year, Houston, it's kind of hard to argue against them in a weak AFC collectively. Pittsburgh, I'm out on. Cleveland's still trying to figure out who their quarterback is. The Jets are the Jets. New England, I mean, just what a distraction that whole entire organization is at this point. And then Miami rebuilding, and then there's Buffalo, who I think they're going to be right there at the top. I like Josh Allen. I like that defense. They constantly come up short. And to me, that's why I look at Cincinnati. You go get Dexter Lawrence. You added Mafe. I like the safety they got. I like the depth. And now you have this entire draft to find something, couple pieces to hit on. And now all of a sudden I'm looking at Cincinnati and I'm like, they are electric offensively. And now you've added a defense that's going to complement them perfectly. I think Cincinnati's right there at the top. I applaud the move. I've always said it's an unserious organization. They don't care about winning. I'm a Browns fan, as you could see, for those watching on the stream. My team is too aggressive. I've always felt Cincinnati's not aggressive enough. Cincinnati, because they have not been aggressive enough, has always come up short of their goals. They missed the playoffs 3 straight years, and it's been a blank show. Cleveland's too aggressive. They give up all those first rounders, fully guaranteed money to a quarterback they thought was a top 5. I shouldn't say that. He was a top 5 quarterback. I don't think that's up for debate. He was. And I also know what's also not for debate is just how crappy he's been since arriving in Cleveland. Too aggressive. It's cost them. Not aggressive enough. It's cost the Bengals. The Bengals, I think this was the perfect aggressive move for them. And I think the only way that this move is neutralized for Cincinnati is if they bomb the rest of this draft. I applaud this move mainly. I applaud this move from Cincinnati mainly because the self-awareness to know that they have not been great in the draft in recent years. I challenged Bengals fans the other day. No one answered it. Who in this year's draft would make a bigger impact for Cincinnati this year and years to come than Dexter Lawrence? Because there are some Bengals fans who aren't a fan of giving up the top 10 pick, their first round, number 10 pick. There's some fans and analysts out there who think it was absolutely too much to give up for Dexter Lawrence, and I don't get that take. He's a 28-year-old dominant pass rusher, dominant defensive lineman, and there's nothing else you're going to get in this draft with that number 10 pick that is going to be as useful as that. So that's why I'm pro Bengals on that move. I don't know how you could argue against it. I laugh. Nick Wright and others who I always enjoy when Nick Wright dunks on the Bengals. I know he's a homer for the Chiefs, so he doesn't want to give the Bengals their flowers if he doesn't have to. So usually I love Nick Wright's takes, but there comes a point where this is why I know I'm not as biased as some of those guys, is because I can look at the Bengals who I can't stand. And by the way, I can't stand Joe Burrow. I can't. I think he's fake. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I think his personality's fake. I think he's a fake tough guy. I think he's a fake. I think he pretends to be Mr. Hollywood, Mr. Cool, Mr. this, Mr. that. Well, he's Mr. Sit his ass at home every damn time the playoffs come around because he can't stay freaking healthy. There's proof that I'm not leaning too far into the Bengals fandom there. But the bottom line is I could look at a team that I'm not very fond of and still acknowledge when they make a championship move, and this is a championship move to go get Dexter Lawrence. I'm fine with them admitting we're struggling to draft in the first round. And think about this. If the Bengals didn't trade for Dexter Lawrence and they get a Bain or they take somebody in this top 10 pick and they just become average, think about the morale hit that this organization gets hit with if that's the case. You fans are going to get even more anxious. I'm going to criticize them even more. This was a safe move. This was the best move. I'm a big fan of the Dexter Lawrence get. I'm concerned about the Dexter Lawrence get because, it's one of those things where I never respected Cincinnati. I never feared Cincinnati. I laughed at Cincinnati. Every time your fans thought, oh, they're about to get Joe Burrow back and take off. This is a team that's only a couple games above 500 in the Joe Burrow era. People talk about the Joe Burrow era as if we've never seen more winning. What are you talking about? This is a team that's 9 games above 500 in the Joe Burrow era. This team, all they do is win in the Joe Burrow era. No, they don't. 3 straight years of missing the playoffs. Even when he's out there, they're not winning a lot of games. Now, I get it. It's not because of him necessarily, but this idea that the Joe Burrow era, there's never been anything like it. There's been way better eras. I mean, what are you talking about? This team actually won more during the Andy Dalton era, not one in the time of the season that matters most, but that's why I like this Dexter Lawrence move, because this Dexter Lawrence move is about January and February more so than it is about September and October. So kudos to Cincinnati. I think I nailed that. I think I buried and poo-pooed on your team while also giving them their flowers. That keeps my Browns fans happy, all while keeping Bengals fans happy that, hey, I'm not just burying your team to bury them. There you go. All right. Damon Hahn says, F them picks. Exactly. F them picks. Remember when the Rams years ago were trading all their first rounders away and everybody was losing their mind? I'm like, the first round picks are supposed to get you guys that are going to come in and make you a Super Bowl contender. So isn't that the purpose of those first round picks? Whether you draft with them or use them to go get them. The Rams won a Super Bowl because of that approach. And I think that the Bengals are going to get back to one if they also use that same approach. I think that the Bengals need to concentrate more on really doing a more efficient job in the later rounds of the draft and also using more picks like this. They need to be more aggressive like this moving forward. If they want to maximize the Joe Burrow era, I think we need to see more of that F them picks mentality from Cincinnati more than anything else. So there you go. Chad Kinser says it's the smartest thing the Bengals have done in 20 plus years, in my opinion. I agree. So I said I had a similar topic the other day. I said this is probably the best move the Bengals have made, and I don't know what was the last move that the Bengals made that was like this. I don't count drafting Burrow. You got Burrow as a result of winning 2 games and being butt. You were horrible. I'm not going to give you credit for drafting Joe Burrow when you needed a quarterback and he was a can't-miss quarterback and he was right there for you to take. It's not like you saw something in him that nobody else did. So, yeah, of course you took Joe Burrow. I think that the being aggressive with Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell, I think that was a smart move. I didn't think so at the time. I was wrong. But at the time, I thought, man, you can't protect your quarterback and you're going to go get another toy for him to throw the ball to. I thought it was silly. I thought it was ridiculous. But Jamar is a top, he's the best wide receiver in the NFL right now. So it was the right move. It was the right move. I was wrong. But again, that was a big move. But I don't think that signaled, we're going all in. This signals we're going all in. When you give up a first-round pick, when you never do that, when you give up a top 10 pick to go get arguably the best player available, through a trade right now, I think it was smart. And then when to come to find out that the Bengals were actually in on the Max Crosby deal too. I don't know if you guys saw that. There's reports out that Cincinnati was actually, everyone thought it was, more, it was just all rumors and everything else that they were interested in Max Crosby. I was rolling my eyes at all you Bengals fans who were falling for all the storylines out there that the Bengals were potentially looking at Max Crosby. I was like, no, they're not. Just stop it. Well, sounds like they were. And it's basically confirmed with this deal. And I think this was a much better deal. You got him for significantly cheaper, and you only had to give up 1 first rounder versus multiple, which is what the Ravens almost had to do as well. And I think you get an impactful defensive lineman longer than what you would have had Trey Hendrickson for. Like, I don't compliment the Bengals often, but kudos. I think they nailed it. They nailed it. All right, coming up later on tonight, our NFL draft watch along, round 1, the first 10 picks at the very least. It's late. It's 8 o'clock. My goodness, no. But Keith Byers, myself, Kev Nash will be live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook and YouTube channel. So make sure you go give both of those a follow and hang out with us. We'll be reacting lifetime to each and every draft pick. 4 Buckeyes projected to go in the top 10. The Browns, as of now, have that number 6 pick. And we'll talk more about the Bengals moving on from their number 10 pick to go get Dexter Lawrence. We'll get the Pro Bowlers take and Keith Byers on that. Plus, he'll share his draft night memories from when he was drafted by the Eagles back in the day as well. So we have that coming up for you later on tonight. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio.
A is for ABS, B is for BCM, C is for CBT, D is for, don't worry, we're not going to